house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother Canada updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is no one. If you want to be house guest of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. It's only $1 for a holla, and we'd really appreciate it. And I mean, like, every day from now until the end of the season is open, so much opportunity. Alright, so yesterday was pretty boring in the house. All the house guests were really tired. Of course, Nick and Tim had stayed up all night as some sort of like punishment or task or something, which, by the way, they did not end up getting a reward for, which they were hoping for. No. So, a lot of the other house guests were just exhausted from being have-nots for the week. They're really hitting that slop wall. So it was kind of like a blah day in the house. But that doesn't mean you should stop watching this. So Tim and Cassandra were like, maybe we should spice things up. Let's mess with some people. So they were thinking about hiding something of Nikki's and something of Maddie's, and then making them each think that the other person stole something. Okay. They were also thinking about hiding the maple syrup from the have-nots because that's like the only thing that they've been using with the slop. That's so mean! But they didn't end up doing either of those things because they're like too lazy to go through with it. Oh well. Alright, so you would never know that Joel was up on the block this week against Mitch because he's like barely been campaigning. But Joel was talking to Raul and Nick about the votes, and he's like, basically saying that he hasn't been campaigning this week because he feels like he has the votes locked down. He doesn't want to mess with it. He doesn't want to bother people. So he feels like he's got the brothers, Jared, Kelsey, Cassandra, and Tim. So that's 5 votes. And you need 5 votes to stay this week or 4 to tie. So he's like, even if Tim does something ridiculous and like forces a tie, he feels like he's good with Raul. So it's going to be okay. Alright, so then he mentions how he knows that Maddie and Ramsey are against him and they're campaigning for Mitch to stay, but he's not really that worried about it because he doesn't think they're going to be able to get the votes. Probably not. Alright, so Ramsey and Kelsey were having a game chat in the HOH room, which was odd. I feel like these two never talk. But he was saying that this was really weird. He was saying he thinks that Mitch is going to stay this week, and Kelsey was like, wait, what? And Kelsey's like, well, if that's what you guys want to do, fine, but he's made it very clear that he's coming after us, so, like, where do we stand with you and Maddie? Like, that's really weird. It's like you're coming after us. And then a few minutes later, Ramsey's like, yeah, I think Mitch is going to go this week. Wait, what? Like, 2 minutes ago, you said you thought he was going to stay, and even Kelsey was like, wait, so you think he's going to go? It was really weird. I don't know if he just, like, messed up his words, or he was, like, trying to smooth things over, or what. I mean, he was definitely trying to smooth things over, that's for sure, because he was basically like, yeah, I know Mitch is coming after you, but, like, I've got people coming after me, too, so it's not like you guys are special or something. It was just, like, he's not very good at this game. Alright, so Phil and Cassandra were chatting, and they confirmed they are still definitely voting Mitch out this week. They're definitely still targeting Maddie and Ramsey the following week, and they're definitely down for working with Tim. Of course, they're both like, every time Tim is around. So Jared joins them, and he starts talking about how he thinks that Mitch really messed up this week. So he's surprised that Mitch never really tried to talk to him about even considering using the power of veto on him this week. And he really thinks that Mitch should have tried to patch things up with Raul and go down that road just in case there was a tie this week so that he could stay. But you got to think about, he would still need 4 votes to force that tie. And what are the chances that he would have Maddie wanting him to stay so badly if he was, like, all over the trio again, you know? I just don't know if I see that. So, I honestly think that Mitch got screwed by that twist. This would not have happened if they didn't have that twist, so I really feel bad for Mitch. It just sucks. It was, like, way out of his control. But anyway, Kelsey was telling Jared about her conversation with Ramsey and how he was saying that, like, he's got his own target on him, so, like, what's the big deal if one person who says that they're coming after the trio stays in the house? So she's just like, yeah, Ramsey's really dumb. And they're both like, why would we want to work with him if he's going to keep Mitch? Like, that makes no sense. So Jared's just like, it's disappointing. It's really disappointing. You know what's disappointing? Pretty much all of you guys right now. You're so freaking boring. So nothing really interesting was happening game-wise. Socially, Phil was getting upset because Tim was kind of like making fun of him. Like, it was kind of like a lighthearted thing. He kept like asking him like, why are you always putting Vaseline on your lips? So I guess they've noticed that Phil does that a lot. They're like, wow, your lips look like really bright. Why do you keep putting Vaseline on? And eventually Phil is like, I have to do that because I'm like on this acne medication and it makes my lips really dry. And he's like really insecure about it. So Tim is like, oh, crikey. No, he didn't say that. But he felt bad because he never would have said that if he had known, you know, why it was happening. I don't know. It was like kind of sad in a way because we know that Phil like looks up to Tim so much, and for Tim to like be making fun of him, it was just like, ooh. So then things got a little different when a bunch of the house guests were like, Tim, show us your penis piercing. Everybody's really curious about it. They all want to see it. And Tim's like, I'm not just going to whip it out like in front of everybody. But he is open to showing people on a one-on-one basis. He does not care. Okay, so this morning, back to the game, back to campaigning. Mitch was asking Nikki for some help. Basically, he wants to use her as some leverage in his campaigning. So he wants to bring this plan to some people. He's like, if you keep me in the house, you will have not only my vote, but also Nikki's vote. You have 2 people who will not put you up. And another scenario, he keeps bringing up like a triple eviction. So he's like, if I am on the block with you in a triple eviction and like one other person, Nikki has promised that she will vote for you to stay and not me. So he's ready to bring that to people. He just needs Nikki's permission to do it. And she's just like, yes, absolutely. Like, I want you to stay. Do what you gotta do. So Mitch goes and brings this deal to Phil. And it definitely seems like he's trying to scare him with the prospect of a triple eviction. He's like, yeah, I think for you and Nick, it's going to be tough if there's a triple eviction because so many other people have at least one other person that they're very close to, and they'll have that vote, like Maddie and Ramsey. You got the trio working together. You've got Joel with whoever, Cass and Tim. Brothers, who do you have? You don't have, like, solid votes for you. So he brings that up, and he presents the 3 points, you know, with Nikki to Phil. And he also drops, if I go home this week and you don't vote for me to stay, you're probably not going to get Nikki's vote in a triple eviction because she's very emotional and she's not going to want to give you her vote. So, whoa! Also, he mentions, obviously, he's still going after the trio. So he's like, I don't need an answer right now, but I want you to think about it and we'll talk again. So then Tim goes and smooths things over with Phil. He apologizes again for, like, making fun of his lips. And he's trying to, like, pump him up about life after the Big Brother house. And he's like, oh, yeah, a lot of girls will be interested in you outside of the house. Like, don't be insecure, blah, blah, blah. And Phil's like, thanks, that means a lot. I really appreciate it. There's nothing wrong with Phil here, but, like, have you seen the way he talks to his brother? It's so awful. It's so awful. Can you, like, talk to him about that? So, anyway, back to the game again. Mitch is in campaign overdrive because it's Wednesday. The eviction's tomorrow. So he was campaigning to Cass. He was throwing a lot at her. He's saying if Joel stays, he's going to become the ultimate pawn. Whoever goes up against him is going to go home. So you don't want that around. If I'm up on the block, I'm probably going to be going home. So he also says that Joel is going to be like Steve from Big Brother 17. He's going to hide behind all these big targets, and then right at the end, he's going to swoop in there, make his move, and win the game. So Mitch is also saying, like, you really think you're, like, number 4 with that trio? Psh, think again. So he's, like, saying all these other people are working with the trio, like the brothers and Joel and blah, 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 blah. So he's saying, Cass, they're going to cut you at some point because you're smart. You definitely want to flatter someone and tell them they're smart. So, I mean, he's working it. But I don't know if it's working. So he's also saying to Cass, like, I'm not going to come after you until Jared, Kelsey, and Raul are gone. Which is great and all, but, like, can't you do better than that? Really? I feel like at this point you should be promising the world to these people. Not just, like, safety until those three are gone. That's just my opinion, though. But Cass is just like, yeah, that's wonderful, but I'm afraid if I keep you, that's going to make me a target. I'm going to be up on the block with you next week, and I can't deal with that. So then Mitch finally gets his one-on-one time with Tim, and it's just not going great. Tim is like, yeah, it seems like your whole beautiful game has come undone this week due to bad luck. Like, it was out of your control, and, like, who am I to go against that? And all this stuff. Like, you know how Tim is. So Tim then kind of, like, shifts gears in the conversation. He's like, we could have had so much fun together. Like, why weren't we friends before? We could have had all these fun conversations and stuff. And it's almost like he's scolding Mitch for, like, not wanting to be his friend and, like, work with him. But he's telling him, like, I want to be friends with you outside of the house. Like, we're going to have a good time. Doesn't look good game-wise. But, he's also telling Mitch, like, I think you made a mistake this week because you went against Jared, Kelsey, and Raul, and he thinks that he would have had a better chance of staying if he had, like, sucked up to them and, you know, mended the La Vida drama fences. So he's kind of telling Mitch, like, you have to up and it's over. It's not looking good for Mitch, but the eviction is tomorrow. Expect lots and lots of campaigning tonight. I don't see Mitch going out without giving it everything, but like I said, at this point, it's not looking good for him. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is it going to be Mitch or Joel going home? And let me know who you want to go home. And until tomorrow, much love. Edit.